Good evening, everyone, or good early morning, everyone. T-Speaker 222 XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibyte OG. So I want to thank UB2Soft for this. UB2Sob for this. Congratulations, Dusty BC. You're a douchebag. Well, I guess I agree with that, douchebag McGee's. That's right, Bob. So, guys, I want to welcome each and every one of you into the overnight radio show. Tonight, we're going to be discussing ISO20022, some looming deadlines, and just some reasoning why November is so important, and the possible 3-month pushback that could put us out into February of 2022, as I've discussed many, many times and very openly. So let's get this douchebag off the screen. So first, we're going to start with this. Paul sent me this, Paul Wilson. I came across this post below about an upcoming crash and what could have happened. X-Infinity and Bearable Bull have mentioned it also, so I know at some stage I have to get back in before the exchanges crash, blah, blah, blah. So, I've maintained in the 10 days of darkness, the ISO20022 main international regulation and precious metal backing happens. You would probably buy before then in my way of thinking. SEC conference will be analyzed, dark 10. Knowing the Sunshine meeting and Battle of Bunker Hill on 17th, knowing Trump rallies are to have those in the Federal Witness Protection Program walk out. Would MIL strike on Sunday the 13th, the last day of G7, 3 to 4 days till 17th? Could this be EBS day? Incoming attack, nuke alarms going off and all, switch Project Odin. So that's something to keep in mind. So what I always talk about, you guys, is the ISO 20022 deadline. And as deadline looms, European banks must act for those transacting through Target 2 and Euro 1/Step 1. The current deadline to be able to receive, process, and send ISO 20022 messages is November 2021, even with SWIFT's most recent push to November 2022. So, as the 2021 migration deadline for ISO 20022, ISO standard for electric data interchange between financial institutions approaches, industry preparations are ramping up. So, this is getting more and more and more. The 2022 message exchange end. From the end of 2022 until November 2025, ISO 20022 message exchanges will be available. However, our transaction management capabilities will allow banks to choose between ISO 20022 messages and MTs, ensuring they can use their chosen standard for transaction within this transition period. So after 2025, they don't even have a choice anymore. So, then we talk about when does the UK. So they got 4 years to do it. This is pretty standard stuff. So then we go to because that's the target and all this other stuff, the deadlines. So now I want to go for people that aren't familiar with it. 20022, and then the regulations. So ISO 20022 is a multi-part international standard prepared by ISO Technical Committee TC68 Financial Services. It describes a common platform for the development of messages, dummies, Swift. 5th limited edition of the ISO 20022 for Dummies book, written and offered by the Swift Standard team. After reading this book, blah, blah, blah. So that's a little plug at the end, but. So SEG Standard Evolution Group, composed of industry experts in specific business domains of the financial industry. Swift is the registration authority for ISO 20022. RA is the guardian of the ISO 20022 financial repository. So this is stuff that, is pretty. You need to know all of this stuff. ISO 20022 is an ISO standard for electronic data interchange between financial institutes. It describes a metadata repository containing description of messages and business processes and a maintenance process for the repository content. The standard covers financial information transferred between financial institutions that include payment transactions, securities trading, and settlement of information, credit and debit cards, transactions, and other financial information. So this has it all, guys. So, and then the Interledger Protocol family and the ecosystem. This is pretty important stuff as well, if we can find the right one. Ooh, this is a good one. Two ISO20022 messages carry remittance information. REMT1 sends full remittance detail as a standalone message, and REM2 sends a link or other method to find the full remittance details, also as a standalone message. So this basically tells you everything's going to be decrypted. It'll be encrypted, but they'll be able to decrypt it and know exactly what you're doing. So I just like to see if anything stands out to me. Baseline submissions are pretty important, but you're not really going to get much information. So ISO 20022 is a standards framework that enables a common global language for messaging and payments, cash management, reporting, securities, cards, foreign exchange, and trade services. The standard defines the message, structure, and content. Within an ISO 20022 message, XML is the most common language syntax. So the main considerations for ISO 20022 migration is 113.1 operational considerations, 113-2 infrastructure considerations, 13.4 the migration of global market infrastructures, 14.4.1 Eurozone, 15.4.2 US dollar area. So that's very important, guys. 18.4.3 sterling area, 19.4.4 Swift 25. So very, very, very important information. And then we can get into the Hyperledger because it's the Interledger Hyperledger, so you got to know what both of them are. So that gives you a pretty basic understanding now. I've already gone over the Hyperledger and Inter Protocol 20022, but you've got to understand this. The more time that goes, it's got to be in your vocabulary. You've got to understand the Interledger Protocol, and you've got to understand the Hyperledger Protocol. So we're going to have to find a way so I can show you. I want to give you a little bit of information. Man, there's a lot of stuff we can look in here. We got to get you the right one, though. So, Hyperledger Fabric is a permissioned blockchain infrastructure originally contributed by IBM and Digital Asset, providing a modular architecture with a delineation of roles between the nodes and the infrastructure, execution of smart contracts called chain code and Fabric, and configurable consensus and membership services. A Fabric network comprises one peer nodes which execute chain code, access ledger data, endorse transactions, and interface with applications. So it's going to change everything, guys. The purpose of the Hyperledger project: Hyperledger collaborates with more than 250 member companies, including the world's leaders in finance, banking, Internet of Things, supply chains, manufacturing, and technology. So what kind of technology is the Hyperledger Quilt? Hyperledger Quilt is a Java implementation of the Interledger protocol, enabling payments across any payment network, fiat or crypto. So there's your convergence. So here's the Hyperledger Quilt. So Hyperledger Quilt is a Java implementation of the Interledger protocol, enabling payments across any payment networks, fiat or crypto. Quilt provides an implementation of all core primitives required for sending and receiving payments in a ledger-agnostic manner, allowing developers to write an application payments logic once while gaining access to any other payment system that is Interledger enabled. So, then they got their announcements and all this other crap. And then we can go to the Hyperledger open source blockchain technologies. This was posted June 6th or June 8th. So, what is Hyperledger? Hyperledger is an open source, and I'm going to beat this over your head so you guys know what I'm talking about eventually. Hyperledger is an open source community focused on developing a suite of stable frameworks, tools, and libraries for enterprise-grade blockchain deployment. It serves as a neutral home for various distributor ledger framework, including Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, Indie as well as tools like Hyperledger Caliper and libraries like Hyperledger Ursa. Latest happenings at Hyperledger Interop, a sampling of production cross-platform solutions, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to learn more, you can look through all this crap. So there's so much with the Hyperledger, though, that there's so many factors. Quote is organized as a Maven multi-module project. Each module exists in a subdirectory that has its own child POM and README file. Dependency and plugin versions are managed, and the parent project issues are labeled and prefixed to what is easy to identify which projects they relate to. And then we've got the Hyperledger Fabric. So the Hyperledger Fabric is permissioned blockchain infrastructure originally contributed by IBM. We already read through this one. The Hyperledger project. Okay, so we already went through that. Hyperledger Transact takes an extensible approach to implementing new smart contract language called smart contract engines that implement a virtual machine or interpreter that processes smart contracts. So there's a lot of stuff, guys, that goes into this. It's not just like, oh, it's this and that. So here's the... I don't think they're going to have a good document. Maybe they will. So the Hyperledger Fabric is implementation of blockchain technologies that has been collaboratively developed under the Linux Foundation. Hyperledger project is the average familiar improvement technologies and offers a modular architecture that allows pluggable implementation of various functions, including membership services, consensus, and smart contracts, chain code execution. It features powerful container technology to host any mainstream language for smart contracts development. To contribute to this documentation, create an issue for any requests for clarification or to highlight any errors, you may fork and update the source and submit a pull request. Below you'll find the following sections. So, man, this is a great. We can even go into chain code APIs. When the init, invoke, or query function of a chain link is called, the fabric passes the stub shim.chaincode stub parameter. This stub can be used to call APIs to access to the ledger services, transaction context. So last thing we'll do is we'll look what APIs are, and then I'll get out of here and let you guys go. APIs. API is 100% cloud-based, blah, blah, blah. API is the acronym for Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other each time. Use an app like Facebook, send an instant message, or check the weather on your phone using an API. Different types of API. The difference between API types: REST or representational state transfer is a commonly used API category that is not dependent on a specific protocol. SOAP or simple object across protocol is an API that connects different platforms together through HTTP and XML. APIs. Developers can use almost any modern programming language like JavaScript, Ruby, Python, or Java. For their own API coding, most programming languages already come with the necessary software to interact with web APIs, but developers typically install additional packages or code for convenience and flexibility. Let's see. API stands for Application Programming Interface, a concept that applies everywhere from command line tools to enterprise Java code. So you guys are getting the picture here. This all ties in together very, very, very nicely. So, and then back to Interledger. I wanted to do Interledger protocol with XRP, my bad. So you guys can see something. Interledger is utilized by Ripple Labs to connect bank systems across borders, where the Ripple XRP token functions as a standardized settlement layer between global banks, making Ripple somewhat akin to a digital Hawala service. World banks use XRP. The Ripple network not only processes transactions using XRP, but it can also be used for other fiat currencies, cryptocurrencies, and commodities, guys. Commodities. Used by large financial institutions. Oops. Can Ripple work without XRP? Ripple, the company, could continue to exist without XRP. In addition to creating the RCL, Ripple built a suite of products called RippleNet that are marketed to banks, payment providers, and digital asset exchanges, or frictionless way to send money globally. Only XRapid requires the use of XRP. So that kind of tells you that Ripple doesn't even need XRP. So, and then real quick we'll go into what Ripple is, and then I'll let you go. So Ripple is a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network created by Ripple Labs, Inc., a U.S.-based technology. Ripple XRP is one of them. In March 2021, the cryptocurrency ranked 4th behind Bitcoin, Ether, and blah, blah, blah. But you guys know what Ripple is from listening to me for a fucking 10 weeks. ISO20022 RippleNet, shaping the future of cross-border payments. The world is converging on a new global standard, ISO20022 de facto. Ripple modern payments to enable step global interoperability and meet the evolving needs of our customers. Ripple is now part of the ISO20022 standards body. The first member focused on distributed ledger technology, DLT. So you're getting all this confirmation. Does Ripple use? According to Ripple's website, Ripple is now part of the ISO20022 standards body. The first member focused on distributed ledger technology, DLT, to help enable the next step in global interoperability and meet the evolving needs of the environment. What are ISO 20022 coins? ISO 20022 is an ISO standard for electronic data interchange between financial institutions. It describes a metadata repository containing descriptions of messages and business processes and a maintenance process for the repository content. Underlining all of this is the ISO 20022 meta model, a model of the models. So the difference between ISO 15022 and 20022, ISO 15022 replaces the previous securities messages standard ISO 7775. It provides two syntaxes, one compatible with the preceding standards and one fairly compatible with EDFACT. ISO 20022 is a successor to ISO 15022, which we've already covered. In Swift Financial Messages, the standard is applied to a variety of message types. So, and then is ISO 20022 mandatory from February 2023. The bank will require all CHAPS direct participants to receive enhanced ISO 20022 payment messages, and at a minimum, continue to send like-for-like messages using the enhanced XML schemes. CHAPS direct participants will be able to send enhanced messages but will not be mandated to do so. So by February 2023, banks will require all chat participants to be in compliance with ISO20022. It's pretty simple. So, what is the ISO20022 equivalent of an MT103 message? To directly answer the question asked, plus more, blah, blah, blah. The ISO20022 customer transfer message type PACS008 is the equivalent of an MT103. So, that's all we're going to do today. And then what is a PACS008? The financial institution customer credit transfer message is used to move the money from the sending bank to the designation bank when the bank of the debtor sends the PACS008. It is like it is saying to the bank of the beneficiary, here is the money I have debited to my customer. So that's the new way of banking, guys. T-Speaker 222 XRP, future millionaire with a side bet on XM and future Digibyte OG. I hope you enjoyed episode 3 of the overnight radio show. This should have opened your eyes. It taught you a lot. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 3:42 a.m. Stay true, stay blessed.